wonder murmur where whispers weave the heart.
Hello, little hearts. A new whisper begins. In a quiet little house on a quiet little street lived a curious monkey named George. George was a maker and a fixer, and his favorite toys were those with gears and gadgets. One afternoon, he sat with his best friend, Aunt Sylvia, looking at his newest toy, a bright yellow front loader. But there was a problem. It was broken. "It's no good," George sighed. "When I put toys in the scoop, they all fall out." Aunt Sylvia, a brilliant engineer, smiled. "Well, George, to fix something, you must first understand how it works." She led him to a construction site nearby, and they watched a real front loader at work. "Look," she said. "The scoop tilts up to hold the load. Then it tilts down to drop it off." George's eyes lit up. He had a plan. They hurried back to the house. First, they fixed the scoop so it faced upward. "It works!" George cheered, but then he frowned. "Now I can't get any toys in it." Aunt Sylvia laughed. "You're right, George. Looks like we need to loosen things up a bit." She handed him an adjustable wrench. Never leave home without an adjustable wrench. Together they made the scoop tilt. It worked perfectly. But now they needed a way to lift the arms. George tied a piece of string to the arm and pulled, but it didn't work. His shoulders slumped in frustration. "Don't you be discouraged," Aunt Sylvia said, her voice full of warmth. "Reworking and revising is what engineering is all about. I learned that when I designed roller coasters. Sometimes you have to sit through a lot of slow rides before you get the big, exciting ones." She took out her favorite tool, a drill she called Sheila. "Luckily, I've got Sheila. Isn't she a beauty?" With a whir, she drilled a small hole in the side of the front loader, a perfect spot to attach a new rope. George held the toy steady, while Aunt Sylvia tightened the knot. They then pulled the rope, and a cheer erupted from them both. It worked! The front loader could now scoop, tilt, and lift, all with the simple pull of a rope. That day, George learned that the joy of building is not in the final product, but in the process of trying and trying again. He had started with a broken toy, and through his patience and Aunt Sylvia's wisdom, he had built something even better. In the heart of the Theng town, there was a buzz of excitement. The town's 100th anniversary was being celebrated, and as part of the celebration, a special area was being built. The town had a tradition. For every 10 stripes a person found and brought back, the town would add 100 stars to a giant banner. George wanted to earn all 10 stripes. He had found 8 so far, but he still needed 2 more. He was in the middle of a big play about the town's founding, but his mind was on the 2 missing stripes. He looked for them everywhere, under the bushes, behind the curtain, in the grass. He was so distracted that he nearly missed his lines. "Let's give a warm welcome to our town founders," the announcer said, "and the founding of our town, named Oh My Word." Just as the play was ending, an announcement was made. "The anniversary area will be unveiled even earlier," the announcer boomed, "right after the kite flying." George's heart pounded. He had no time left. He looked up at the sky and saw the final 2 stripes he needed. They were tied to the tail of a kite, a bright, beautiful kite with a long, flowing tail. But just as he started to run, the wind caught the kite and lifted it higher and higher, until it was tangled at the very top of Mount Neverclimb. Mount Never Climb was called that for a reason. No one had ever climbed it. It was too steep, too treacherous. George's friends told him it was impossible. But George knew that the town was counting on him, and he was not the type to give up. He began to climb. He slipped and scrambled, his paws finding footholds where there were none. He pushed and pulled, his entire body shaking with effort. Finally, exhausted and out of breath, he reached the top. He grabbed the kite, unhooked the last 2 stripes, and slid back down. He raced to the town center, his legs a blur, and arrived just as the announcer was about to pull the rope. He held up the 10 stripes. "I did it," he gasped. "I found all of them." The announcer smiled. "And for your 10 hard-earned stripes, we give you 100 stars. The crowd cheered as the banner was unveiled, a glittering spectacle of 100 stars. George had done it, and the hardest work of all was the most rewarding. George had a friend who was a talented musician. One day, the man came to him, his face filled with despair. "My guitar is broken," he said. "I can't play at the hoedown tonight." George, ever the fixer, took the guitar. He saw that the strings were broken and the wood was cracked. He patched the wood with chopsticks and glue, then went to find new strings. He came back with a handful of random things: shoestrings, fishing line, a yo-yo string, and a rubber band. He then found a piece of a birdhouse and turned it into a tuning peg. He worked all afternoon, so focused that he didn't notice the hoedown was about to begin. The man came back, a worried look on his face. "George, is the guitar ready?" George proudly presented his creation. It was a masterpiece of imagination. The guitar had shoestrings for some notes, fishing line for others, and even a yo-yo string. It looked beautiful, but when the man plucked a string, it made a strange, awful sound. "Oh," the man said, his face falling. Well, it was very kind of you to fix it, George, but I don't think I can play this at the hoedown." George's heart sank. He had tried so hard. Just then, another musician walked by. He looked at George's creation and laughed, a friendly, warm sound. "What is this?" he asked. "A birdhouse mandolin?" "It has a shoestring, a fishing line, a yo-yo string, a rubber band, and a picture wire." He took the instrument and began to sing a new song. A cheerful, funny song about a monkey who built a strange guitar. The sound it made was not what you'd expect, but it was unique and wonderful. The man played it all night at the hoedown, and George's failure was celebrated as a creative success. One day, George was playing with a remote-controlled toy bird. The bird was supposed to fly over a brick wall to its friends, but the remote was broken. When he pushed the joystick to go left, the bird went right. When he pushed up, it went down. His friend, frustrated, gave up. "The remote is broken," he sighed. "We can never fix it." But George, a monkey who never ever quits, had an idea. He looked at the remote and thought, if off is on and up is down, then maybe right is left. He took a deep breath and pushed the joystick to the right. The bird flew to the left. He figured out the strange logic of the remote. It was just backwards. He guided the bird through a complex path, but his friend was still worried. "We're going to be late," he yelled. "I can't watch." But George was calm. He knew he could do it. He He pushed the joystick down, and the bird flew up. He pushed it right, and it turned left. He found that to make it go fast, he had to slide the lever to slow. And to turn it on, he had to turn it off. He was a genius. He landed the bird in his friend's hand, who was so shocked he could barely speak. "You fixed it. You're a genius, George," he said. "The remote was backwards." George just smiled. He had done it, all because he never gave up and was willing to see the problem from a different perspective.
Wonder murmur, the story departs, yet the whisper imparts.